Please show your appreciation for John Swinney.
Last year he said he didn't want to be First Minister. This morning, John Swinney was passionately campaigning for the role.
I could have stood back and hoped others would sort things out. But I care too much about the future of Scotland and the Scottish National Party to walk on by.
But will he just be keeping a seat warm in the short term?
I am no caretaker. I am no interim leader. I am offering to lead my party through the Westminster elections and to lead us beyond the 2026 elections, two contests which I intend to win for the SNP and for Scotland.
This was a room filled with his supporters, but uniting his wider party won't be easy and has involved reaching out to his main rival, Kate Forbes.
We have many talented people leading the work of the Scottish Government. I want Kate Forbes to play a significant part in that team.
What do they have to offer you to stop you from running? We weren't told exactly what job Kate Forbes may have been offered, but within 4 hours the contest was off. The former Finance Secretary cleared the way for John Swinney, rowing in behind him, ruling herself out. She posted a statement saying, "Ultimately, I have concluded that the best way to deliver the urgent change Scotland needs is to join with John Swinney and advocate for that reform agenda within the Scottish Government." It could mean a coronation for a man who last led the SNP 2 decades ago and served a long stint as Nicola Sturgeon's deputy. Pictured here with Ian Blackford when they were teenagers, the SNP runs through his veins.
Our unity must start at this conference here and now.
Some see him as the past of the party rather than the future, but others will breathe sighs of relief that ahead of a general election, a bruising SNP leadership contest is now likely to be avoided.
It's clear that the SNP, just like the Tories, think that the highest office of the land is a revolving door, that it's the gift of one political party, an internal stitch-up and managing their own political party is more important than running our country. The SNP can now not give us stable, competent, effective government. They are chaotic, they are divided, they are dysfunctional, and that's why we need change, and that change can only come with an election.
So I think by not having...
Ash Regan ran to be SNP leader last year before defecting to Alex Salmond's Alba party.
I think there is a potential here that this is part of a backroom deal where the Green Party are vetting the next First Minister.
John Swinney looks set to be crowned Scotland's 7th First Minister next week. Every move will be closely scrutinised after a month of chaos. Can he really turn the page? Well, John Swinney told me today he is making a personal sacrifice by standing. He is someone who really did try to retire from frontline politics last year. He has personal reasons to do so. His wife has MS. He cares for her. So it says a lot about where the party had got to and how much pressure he was being put under by senior figures to run. At that campaign launch in Edinburgh this morning, I spoke to him and asked him about the challenges he's now likely to face. That speech sounded very much like a job offer to Kate Forbes. What are you offering? Are you offering Deputy First Minister?
We're getting a wee bit ahead of ourselves. I'm not.
You must have
yet,
had talks, though.
I'm not yet the leader of the SNP, and I'm not yet the First Minister of Scotland.
Okay,
and the answer to that question can be offered by the First Minister of Scotland. So I've talked to Kate. Of course, I've talked to her because I want to make her understand and appreciate there's a big role for her in my team. I want Kate to hear that message loud and clear.
And you must discuss what that role is. Finance?
Well, we'll come on to all of those questions in the fullness of time.
I just wonder, Kate Forbes is somebody who went on TV in the leadership campaign last year. She trashed Humza Yousaf. She criticised the record of the government that you would be leading. How will other people in this party feel about you bringing her back into the fold?
Everyone's got to come back together again. Everyone. And we've just
how do you feel about that?
I just think we've got to move on. That's how I feel about it. We've just got to move on and get on with it. And the thing that encourages me is the polling that shows that either me or Kate Forbes are viewed by the public as being better placed to be First Minister of Scotland by a country mile compared to Anna Sawar and Douglas Ross.
Isn't it time to have a Holyrood election?
No, because we operate in a fixed term parliament. Parliament's established for 5 years, that's what the law says, and the law accepts that at times leadership will change. So that's what's happening just now within a fixed term parliament.
When Liz Truss went, Nicola Sturgeon said a general election was a democratic imperative. Was she wrong about that?
Well, Liz Truss had completely and utterly trashed the economy.
So are you saying Humza Yousaf's record was perfect, so therefore we don't need an election here?
Well, Liz Truss trashed the UK economy. Let's just think about that sentence. Liz Truss trashed the UK economy. No wonder there were calls for
But the
an
call was
election.
about the Tories just crowning new leaders. You could be about to be crowned a new leader.
Well,
shouldn't there be an election? You could put down a motion and ask for one, and you would get Labour backing you.
Let's wait and see what comes out of the process over the next few days.
You have the nickname Honest John. Is it dishonest, though, to suggest you will be a First Minister that can deliver another independence referendum?
I am going to do everything I possibly can do to deliver Scottish independence. I've devoted my adult life to that objective, and we came very, very close in 2014 to achieving that objective.
What is the route? What are you going to do? Are you going to ask Keir Starmer for a Section 30 order?
The route for me is to engage with the public in Scotland to build support for independence.
So if Keir Starmer gets into Downing Street, you will ask him for another independence vote?
What I'm saying to you is it's a democratic outrage for the right of people in Scotland to decide their own future to be resisted by Westminster. And we've got to build the campaign and the momentum and the mood within Scotland that makes that unavoidable.
John Swinney, thank you.
Thank you.
And Catherine is still with us. Catherine, you look quite relaxed there despite your best efforts. Is the drama now all over?
Well, Matt, it's been a day, it's been a week, it's been a month here. It does look like we are in the end game, but I don't think anyone in Scottish politics can sleep quite soundly in their bed just yet. Nominations don't close until Monday. There is a small possibility that someone else decides to throw their hat in, perhaps an activist angry at the lack of contest, someone like that. Assuming that doesn't happen, though, we are looking now at a free run for John Swinney to become First Minister. He's likely to be First Minister by this time next week. Now, for that to happen, he has to be formally voted in by the Scottish Parliament. What's interesting about that is for Kate Forbes, that would have been a struggle because she'd be highly unlikely to have got the backing of the Scottish Greens. So John Swinney does offer a much more smooth transition. I suppose then the conversation will turn to what kind of First Minister will John Swinney be? And there was a line in Kate Forbes' statement today that really struck me. She said, John is determined to return the SNP to governing from the mainstream. Now, someone like Kate Forbes would certainly be keen to push away from the influence the Scottish Greens have exerted because of the power sharing deal over some key aspects of Scottish Government policy, not just environmental policy, social issues too, like gender reform. It is going to take more than a few fulsome words of praise for Kate Forbes to fully win over her disappointed supporters. But I think the sense is someone has to try and do that, and the best placed person is John Swinney.